Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you again with Age of Apocalypse, Amazing X-Men number 2. And this just keeps getting better and better, guys. I remember reading this when I was younger, but now that I'm going back, oh man, I wish that I could have understood what I know now and how awesome this issue was. So the print date on this is April 1995. And the one thing that I omitted from the last review, because I didn't want to spoil it, but I figure we're going over issue 2 at this point. If you have not checked that out, that other review, pause this one, go check it out, we'll wait. And you're back. So, this little boy, he's part of the evac where the Sentinels are coming to take the humans. He runs away from his parents. His name's Jeremy, because he wants to get a fleeting glimpse of hope seeing the Sentinels come across the horizon. Well, his hope falls into the abyss. And it says here, 20 years ago, a man died who was never meant to. And because of his tragic passing, a world was changed. It became a world of darkness, a world of eugenics gone mad, a world of terror. In such a place, what does the soft crying of one child amount to? Jeremy Graves and his family came to the coastal town of Booth Bay Harbor with thousands of other desperate humans. He'd hoped to be rescued from his oppressive life under mutant domination, to be delivered across the ocean to the sanctuary of Eurasia where, it is said, humans still live free of fear. That's what Jeremy expected. But deliverance never came. And we see him crying. You're hoping someone's coming to save you, aren't you, little flat skin? Truth, boy, I'd rather you hold on to that empty hope. You see, that's what I feed on. And before we kind of reveal that, this is called Sacrificial Lambs. Fabian Nikizia writer, Andy Kubert penciler, Matt Ryan inker, Richard Starkings and Comicraft letter, Kevin Somers in Digital Chameleon colors, Bob Harris, The Great Profundity. So, boom, this is where we see a splash page of Abyss. And he's saying, why do you even try? How long do you think it's going to be until Apocalypse takes over Eurasia? You're always going to be hunted. He says, don't you see? Dead end. Even if you do manage to get away now, it won't matter much because soon the Abyss will swallow you all. And that is just a great vertical splash page by Kubert. Awesome, awesome work by the art team there. Just good job, guys. Love it. So let's go ahead and jump back into the book here. And so last issue. Remember when I was talking about someone got hit by a Sentinel? We'll get into that in a minute. But what happens is when the X-Men put in the reprogramming disk where the Sentinels were supposed to listen to them, well, this team, which is the Brotherhood in this 616-295 universe, I'm getting numbers all... They messed with the disk. And so the Sentinels will not hurt the Brotherhood, but will still hunt the X-Men. And I love this monologue by this villain. Check this out. So though through our holy sacrifice, the androids called Sentinels, those mechanical transports of the Eurasian enemy, have been reprogrammed and shall no longer be your deliverers. Instead, they shall destroy you both, and the foul traitors to our race, those whose very existence sullies the name Homo Superior, the X-Men. So this is one of the Magi, this is the Brotherhood, the X-Men. And so a battle ensues. But in the midst of the battle, to kind of cause that confusion, two of the Brotherhood members get away, and Patriot's like, wait a minute, why are these two breaking off? So he goes after them. And when he goes to stop one of them, you see him go, oh dear God, no. And you see Wanda. He's like, Wanda? Killed years ago while the X-Men were away on their first mission. He thought the guilt would go away, that he survived that terrible day, and she didn't. But he was wrong. It hasn't. So read X-Men Chronicles #1 to show what happened with Wanda at the hands of, what was his name at the time? Nemesis. But you come to find out that this is Copycat. Remember that from issue 1, there was a character who said, "How are you doing, citizen?" And it's like, who says citizen? But yeah, this is Copycat. And I love how she gets shot by Dazzler's light powers, and she goes, "Wanda Lynchshire was a special person. I've been told that she died so that we could all live in a better world." And so Box, I think, is the name. Box and Copycat attack. But before anything can be done, they're able to get away. And Quicksilver says, "Exodus, go after them." And he's like, no, you two are my priority because we are surrounded by Sentinels right now. So where do Box and Copycat get off to? Make sure to check out Weapon X #2. And so they think that they're going to get mowed down. Sentinels say, "Targets acquired, sanctioning parameters engaged, malfunction, outside influences," and boom, outside influences indeed. Storm creating an EMP field. Love it. That's how you move. That's how the panels drive the narrative, guys. Masterful between the art team and Nikezia here. That is called working in harmony. So while Storm and the rest of them are currently working with the evacuation, Banshee goes after the Magi. And what I like here is he's thinking to himself, he goes, "I need you back, Sean. Times are bad. We're going to lose this war. I know when you retired you wanted time to yourself. But better to die on your feet than on your knees. Rejoin my X-Men, please." A sales pitch like that, Eric, and I still couldn't say no to you. But then the legendary Magneto always was a hard man to say no to. So even in this universe, like Banshee retired from the X-Men in the original 616 universe. But as you can see, no matter what timeline you're in, you cannot get away from the life of an X-Man. And so this is where, if something happens with the Magi, check out what happens. This is where a confrontation with Banshee happens, or Abyss. And you come to find out here that Abyss is a little sociopathic and psychotic, because he just like, "You've never heard of me? Fire my publicist. I'm the latest, greatest new Horseman of Apocalypse." And he goes, crazy in love with you. You're insane. You got what I want, Irish, and I got something you want. And that is, you got Spunk Son, Moxie, rose-colored glasses. And then just look at the terror on his face. He goes, "Oh, mother of mercy, you have a child inside you?" And he's like, "Take me, but save the child." And he's like, "Whoever said I wanted you? The son of Magneto, that's who I want." So he pits Sean on a mission to go to explain this to Petro. And it's with a heavy heart, he actually says, "I'm glad it's him and not me." So even in this universe, there's horrors that you just do not want to see. And so Banshee explains he's the new Horseman of Apocalypse. And this kind of really messes with me. It goes, because Petro says, "The one rumored to have taken Bastion's place." Now think, 1995, we're still in the age of Apocalypse. Nothing about Onslaught or Operation Zero Tolerance has been explained to anybody. Now this is just a name drop. There's nothing else in the books that I know of. So I'm thinking that was Nikezia's way of hinting at who's going to be the new villain in the 616 X-Men books. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments, but I feel that's what that is. Now what I really like is Storm, or Quicksilver's like, "Well, I accept the challenge." Storm's like, "I'm coming with you." And he's like, "No, you need to help." And she goes, "Listen to what your father said. You never face an unknown enemy alone." And so she actually takes off ahead of Petro. And she goes, "Save one child at the risk of thousands? Petro, how can you maintain such optimism? Through all our tragedies, and there have been many, you continue to think that things will work out for the best. You are, and always have been, a unique man, my friend. And I have kept my feelings for you hidden for far too long. Ironic, isn't it, Aurora, that you chose this time when you may very well be helping to precipitate the end of the world, to allow yourself the opportunity to love someone, to be human. Now, before she continued with that train of thought, they're goaded into the layer of abyss with the child, which is terrifying the way that he just flings him out and then sucks him back in like that. You're just like, whoa. It is quite horrid. Now a fight ensues, and Abyss is telling Petro, he's like, we shouldn't be fighting, we should be ruling together. And Quicksilver is trying to say, if the mutants were supposed to be taking over the world, don't you think this would be a better world? And he says, it is a better world because we're on top. So Quicksilver's like, better to rule in hell than serve in heaven? I think not, Madman. Perhaps I'll never be able to change your mind about how truly wrong you are. Now, Petro does something that's... you would think that he didn't have it in him. But the ending is very poignant. What happens with Abyss is very interesting, and I don't want to give any of that away. Instead, let's cut to the epilogue. And we're back at Apocalypse's stronghold, the Great Seat, or the Great Seat of the Empire. And Rex, whom we've seen in the other books, has this woman kind of hooked up to sort of a torture device. And you learn that this is Karma. Yes, the New Mutants Karma, Shin. And they're saying, if you don't tell us what Angel and Gambit we're talking about, which we find in X-Men Alpha, then we're going to release the Shadow King on you. And who's perpetuating this torture? Sebastian Shaw. Remember there was a man looking over the balcony while they were having their conversation in Alpha? None other than the Black King himself. So why do they want this information? Why is she being tortured for it? Might I suggest that you guys support your local comic shop and pick up Amazing X-Men #2. The artwork is absolutely stunning. The storytelling, spot on. And it works so symbiotic, the way that the panels move the dialogue, just as any comic book should. That show, don't tell type situation. So yeah, if you guys, as I just said, if you've enjoyed this book, pick it up. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a minute to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Abyss bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys can come to the channel. And we love to hear your feedback and just talk with you all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. And with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you all have an amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.